Layouts can be tricky. Where do you even start? And why don't your designs have the same impact as the ones you admire? I'm going to give you one quick tip in this video that once you understand, you will see everywhere. First, I'll show you this approach in action in some classic pieces of graphic design, then in contemporary web design examples, before demonstrating in Figma. So here we have 8 elements that are all the same size, all competing, everything's important, no sort of hierarchy. So a simple way to make sense of this is just to move these around and scale them so that we have a big element, medium elements, and smaller elements. And just that big, medium, small scale relationship with a clear distinction between them automatically brings order to this. And it doesn't have to be, from top to bottom or whatever, but just having something big, something medium, and something small starts to bring a lot more balance to the composition. Let's look at this with some classic examples. If you go right to the earliest graphic designs ever, like this poster here for cigarettes, and we can see here that the large element is the illustration, which is, centered with the subject of the lady. And then we have the headline at the top as the medium element, and then some smaller sort of bits of type as well at the bottom. And with designs in this era, like this one for an exhibition in Madrid, we again have an illustration that is the largest element. And for the sense of medium, now we have the type in a box together. So this actually creates our medium elements of this as a unit. And then the individual lines of type kind of become the small element there. Edison's greatest marvel, the Vitascope, that headline's like, again, our medium element with our large image in the background. And then we have this really small type in the bottom right that just brings another sense of scale relationships. Obviously, in these early sorts of graphic design, there wasn't so much a sense of grid and that sort of alignment. But because the scale relationships are right and the hierarchy and contrast is good, these pieces still work, even though you might not kern the word Edison quite like they've done here. This classic era going on another few years into sort of the mid-century period in Switzerland. This is a famous poster, and we have again the illustration, and there's a huge scale. It actually bleeds off the edges of the page, this portrait, this headshot of the gentleman, and then the headline is a medium element, and then we have some smaller elements, even the small skier in the bottom left, and this really small text that is overlaid there. This magazine cover for Vogue, and this is a scan of an actual copy that's been a little bit distressed over the years. But you can see here, again, we have this large element, which is the illustration, and then the masthead name of the magazine. And this style and this layout is still used as a composition on magazine covers today, where the masthead is the medium element, and then you have the smaller elements of text letting you know what's in this particular magazine. This is a classic piece of advertising, and whilst it is fantastic copywriting and it's kind of known for that clever creative, the layout really makes it work as well. And without a good layout that had that impact on the page, where we have the large car, medium-sized headline, and then the small copy, it really wouldn't work and make the sort of same impact. And graphic design is smart, because when they did the next one in the series, the Think Small poster, it still works, because although the car is now small, they've put it on this grey field. So that whole grey rectangle takes up that impression, that weight on the page of the large element. So we have our big, medium, small relationship. This is cleverly done with just type. And just by having different type sizes, we can have a large element at the top, medium in the bottom, and the small elements there in the middle of the two of them. And it's having appropriate scale relationships between our type sizes, so the type sizes are not too similar, that really helps bring balance to this composition. Just a few more of these print ones. These null catalogs that were, the whole identity system that was set up by, Massimo Vignelli. This is really clever, because again, only type is used here, but to get the sense of scale, obviously we've got the medium element, which says Nol à Louvre, and then we have the small type here explaining about this exhibition in 1972. But the name Nol, for that to be large, they've made it so large that actually goes off the page. It wraps around onto the back cover. So then we get more of a dramatic sense of scale between the headline and this logo. So we can really have a big, medium, small relationship. Another way this was achieved by Vignelli Associates here was to rework the logo so that the letters of null in the word mark are actually overlapping one another, so they can be at that full height of the page. So they can be, again, a dramatic scale with the large null international medium, and then the small type. And finally, in the print world, this famous magazine cover for Esquire that was art directed by George Lois of Muhammad Ali. Obviously, the photograph is the thing that impacts on the page. That's a large element. But again, common to magazines, we have the masthead, the name of the magazine is the medium element, and then this smaller type around it that really gives the scale, and it really adds to the drama. And if they would have made this headline, The Passion of Muhammad Ali, larger, it wouldn't had the same kind of mournful tone to it, and it would have felt too shouty. And this really helps the scale relationships make the whole composition work. So these are all print examples. Can this sort of thing still work in contemporary web design? Well, absolutely. So I wanted to have a look for some. So the first place I went to just to grab some inspiration was awards. And I thought I'd just have a look at the site of the day. I just took a screenshot of the recent sites of the day. Before jumping into them, I thought, I don't need anything else, because on almost all of these thumbnails here that the designers have created to represent their site, we have these relationships going on. In a lot of the instances, we have a large image in the background, then we have some sort of headline or title with medium-sized text, and then some smaller text as well. And that is often the way that we create this big, medium, small. It's done differently and a few times. This odd one here where we have actually the word mark of odd, and that is a really large element there. And with that, you could almost consider like the nav as a unit together as like a medium element. But in almost all of these examples, it's that scale relationship of big, medium, small here in the hero section of a website that is applied again. And I've just left these on screen while I've been talking, so you've had the chance, to take each one of them in. You can see in most instances, we have that sort of relationship that makes the layout work. So what about you? What about if you get a set of elements? So let's say you have some copy for a hero section and an image that we've been provided. Okay. We have just got here like the name of the company, a headline, and a couple of call to actions here. What would we do with this? Well, to begin with, probably something like this feels very, very default, feels very template-like. And I'm actually going to bring this up just into prototype mode. And this is where things often start with copy left, image right. This is a template. This is maybe where things start. And it's actually not that bad in the sense that it's legible, there's good contrast, there's a little bit of hierarchy going on. So it's not like it's absolutely awful and failing on all counts, but there's no drama to it. There's no interest to it. There's no real beauty to it. And it just looks really generic. And if you've been churning out things like this, how can you start to move away from it? Well, you can start by just applying our big, medium, and small elements. So just choose an element that you want to be that largest element, and let's go from there. So I've quickly just done a few layouts with just these elements, just using black and white in the image, not relying on color, only using one font. And there's a lot we can do just with big, medium, small. On this next one, we've actually made the image now go to the full height. So that becomes our large element. And then the headline, we've made that larger and it's like a medium element. And the logo and the buttons text is more small. But we can do more with this. For example, we can have the image full bleed, then it becomes a large item. and really dramatically use, quite a large, but the medium size element being that headline. So it just makes it, a little bit more different graphically, an interesting, kind of experiment. We could also flip that around and make the word mark the large element and then bring our headline back down to the size of the buttons. Or maybe do that where we move up the word mark of the logo to the top. And I think this is my favorite version of these ones that I quickly created. And even though this was done in just a few minutes, something like this is perfectly serviceable for this kind of company. If this was their website, this would absolutely achieve, what it needs to for a hero section, and having a layout which reflects the fact that this is a design-led company, even though it's super simple. But by just having that one tip in mind to make sure I had one large element, one medium-sized element, and one small, that might just give you one approach that you can take into your layouts to find a way in. This is a great exercise. You can try it for yourself. Take any set of elements in Figma and lay them out as many different ways as you can using the big, medium, small framework. Excellent for practice and also worth trying when you're working on real projects too. Let us know in the comments if this has been helpful and if you'd like to see more design tips, particularly if you're struggling with something in particular like type, color, imagery, hierarchy. Until next time, happy designing.